Hello everyone, it's Nomad Flare here and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'll be showing my controller settings when playing Warzone in the new Caldera map or in Rebirth Island. So those of you that do follow my channel are aware that I do tend to switch up between the controller and keyboard and mouse, and I also specified in my previous video the number one tool that I use when playing Warzone that I literally can't play without, which is the back button attachment. If you do want to watch that video, I add it now at the top right hand side of the screen as a pop-up. Also, if you find this video to be somewhat useful, I would really appreciate everyone if you can subscribe to the channel and like the button, because that does help me out a lot and I really appreciate all the support. My button layout is default flipped, which means I aim using the L1 button and I fire using the R1. Initially, I used to play on default where I used to aim using the L2 button and fire using the R2, but since I made that transition, I've noticed a significant improvement in my response and reactivity, and I definitely recommend the same. The stick layout preset is on the default. The invert vertical look is also disabled. The left and right dead zone, I've kept that on default as well, which is at 0.05. You should only tweak this if you have stick drift, which I don't, so I've kept it on the default. Also with the left and right input dead zone, that should also be kept on the default unless you have stick drift as well. Moving on to stick sensitivity, this is something that you do need to experiment with. Everyone is different, of course. I prefer playing using a lower value, so 6 is the best value for me. I've played at 10, I've played at even 20, and that was a bit too fast for me in terms of me kind of keeping up, etc. So I do highly recommend to kind of try it out yourself and see what's best for you. But if you do want to start off with 6, I think that's the best starting point. And moving on to a very important setting, which is the ADS sensitivity multiplier. So the default value is 1.0. I have lowered it down to 0.97. Sometimes I even lower it down to 0.95. And what this means is that when you are ADSing, which means you are aiming, and you're moving left and right, that will move very, very fast, especially if you have it at a high value, which will hinder your accuracy. So if you do lower down the value to around 0.95 to 0.97, it will help improve your accuracy and you're able to lock onto the enemies. Okay, now moving on to the custom sensitivity per zoom, I've kept this as off, so on the default. My aim response curve type, I've got that as dynamic. There's 3 options to select from. Standard is the simple power curve map from aim stick to aim rate, and then you've got linear and dynamic. Again, this is something that you do need to experiment with. I've tried standard, I've tried linear, and to be honest, the best thing that works for me is dynamic. It all comes down to your aim response curve type. Moving down to controller vibration, I have disabled this. I highly recommend that you don't enable it because you don't want your controller vibrating on you, especially when it comes to those close encounters, or you're trying to aim properly, or you're trying to like snipe someone from a distance. If it does begin to vibrate, then of course what's going to happen, okay, your hands are going to start vibrating, it's going to start moving as well, and that will hinder your accuracy as well, guys, so do bear that in mind. So aim assist, I have that as standard, which is the traditional, which means when you're aiming close to a target, it will begin to slow down and stick onto the enemy. There's also 2 other options. One is really good focusing, especially if you're new to kind of analog aiming. And the other one is strong aim slowdown that only kicks in when you're aiming closer to the target, and that's really good for accurate players. So again, I've tried the 2 other options, but standard was the one that's worked best for me. So the weapon mount shared input is on ADS and melee. My weapon mount movement exit is enabled. Aiming down the sight behavior is on hold, and steady aim, so I using a sniper or anything that has a scope, I will hold. Equipment behavior, which is in relation to your lethal and tactical equipment, I will hold that in order for it to be deployed. Moving on to use reload behavior, there are a couple of options. I prefer to go with the tap to use. So when I do want to kind of pick up a weapon or open up a box, I do tap it. However, when it comes to reloading, it requires me to hold, or you can do the opposite. That's entirely up to you. So depleted ammo weapon switch, I have that as enabled, which means as soon as your weapon, your primary or your second runs out of ammo, it will switch on to the next weapon that has bullets. This is really, really important that you do this, because if you don't, then if you're in close combat and someone's right in front of you and you've run out of weapons, you don't have to reload. You just want to switch automatically to the next weapon and take out the enemy. So armor plates behavior is on apply all. Another very important setting. Make sure guys you have it on apply all. You want to be applying those plates all at the same time rather than applying one at a time, which can take a very long time. And once you are applying all and someone is to come up in front of you, just make sure you press triangle, which is the armor button for me, and you'll be able to stop applying your plates and of course take out the enemy. Slide behavior is on hold, auto move forward is disabled, tactical sprint is a single tap from sprint, automatic sprint is disabled, the vehicle camera recent is enabled, so parachute auto deploy is disabled, which means I will open the parachute by pressing jump. And then moving on to the graphics, make sure everyone that the world motion blur and the weapon motion blur is disabled. So as you can see in the image on the right hand side, that blurriness can really distort your vision, so make sure it is disabled. Initially this is actually enabled, so do make sure you go in and change that as soon as possible. Film grain is on 0.25 and the rest I've kept on the default. Interface, the majority is on default. The only thing that I've changed is the mini map shape. So as you can see with the square, okay, the square you're able to see more of the map, whereas the circle you can only see a reduced amount of the map. So do make sure you change it from round to square. Audio, again, it depends what type of headphones you are using, but as you can see, these are my settings. I'll keep it up there for a few seconds. And then moving on to voice chat, I'll keep that up there for a few seconds as well. Okay everyone, so that wraps up the video. I hope you found this to be very useful. If you did, I would really appreciate your support by subscribing to the channel and also by nudging the like button. If you have any suggestions of what you want to see on the channel, any tech reviews, any unboxings, please let me know down in the comment section below. Until next time, peace.